Today we're going to make a puff omelet. So step one is get two eggs, separate them. We got 2 egg yolks here, 2 egg whites here. We want to do this in 2 separate bowls. Remember, when you whip egg whites, you want to make sure your bowl doesn't have any fat in it. If your whip has fat on it, the egg whites won't whip correctly. That's why we're gonna whip the whites first, then we're gonna whip the yolks, then we're gonna combine them together to make our omelet. So we'll start whipping the egg whites. I like to kind of lift the egg whites. I hold the bowl at an angle, kind of lift the egg whites. You want to whip with your wrist, not your whole arm. If you whip with your whole arm, you're gonna get tired real fast. You're going to stop when you get about right here until you got peaks that look like that. Now we're going to set that aside. We're going to whip our yolks. We could salt this just a little bit. You could also add sugar to the egg whites if you want to take it in a more sweet direction. There we go. We want them kind of as light an area as possible. Alright, now we're going to fold in about 1/3 of our egg whites. And I'm going to cut down the middle, rotate the bowl, just kind of fold those in. It's okay if there's a few streaks in there, right? That's okay. I'm going to add another 1/3 of the egg white. Again, I'm cutting down the middle. Rounded side of the spatula is on the side of the bowl, so I scrape it every time. That looks good. And all the rest of our egg whites go in now. And now we'll continue to mix those in. You don't want to overmix this. You want to keep in all that air that we whipped into it. That looks good. Now I've got my pan preheating. It's preheating on the back burner, so I'm going to move it over to the front burner. And we're going to add our butter to the pan. It's a little hot, so I'm taking the pan off the heat. We're going to melt that butter quickly. I turn down the heat. Then we're going to dump in all of our foam. We're going to finish this in the oven. I've got the oven preheated to about 400, 450. Just going to swirl this around a little bit, level out the foam. That's good. We're going to cook it for about 30 seconds to a minute here before we pop it in the oven to finish it. Alright, it's looking pretty good. I'm going to toss it in the oven now. And we'll let it cook for just a few minutes until it sets. Alright, I'm going to pop it out of the oven now. We don't want to overcook it in the oven. I'm going to slide my spatula around it to make sure that it releases from the pan. It does. And then I'm going to top it with a little bit of roasted pineapple and habanero jam. So you could go very sweet with this. I'm just going to go semi-sweet. Don't forget our pan is hot. The plate up, we're just going to kind of move this out on the plate and fold it over like this. I'm going to garnish with a little bit of hot sauce. That is our puff omelet.